Welcome to the Soul Suite, starring Marcus Noel and the beautiful Miss Catalina. Now here's your host, Marcus Noel.
Good evening. This is Marcus Noel with the Soul Suite with a public service announcement. No, you didn't dream 2020. It actually happened. And yes, you still have to look down to make sure you're standing on a social distancing marker. And God forbid you stand on someone else's marker or and the line moves and you're not paying attention. Yes, that happens. Has it happened to you? It's like kindergarten all over again. Sir, you're on my color-coded social distancing marker. Mine's the red one. Yours is the blue one. Step back 12 feet. Or what about when there are no spots? Because now we get in line and the first thing we do is look down. There's a person at the front of the line, they move. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it's okay. And you take a step. All of a sudden, the person in front of you gets all pissed off and tears around and looks at you with their mask on. Gives you this ugly look. Now, there's one plus about COVID. Less talking when you're out. You walk past someone after 6 months and you have a mask on. We realize we can't see each other's smiles. So we morphed into a head tilt, smiling with our eyes. We completely forgotten that masks just cover our mouths. They don't stop our mouths from working. And it's like we're all walking around, like we're twitching, just saying hi. I'll say this COVID has made it a lot harder to order food. It's like ordering food at Alberto's. You're wearing a mask, plexiglass, she's wearing a mask. Can I get an order of carne asada fries? She's like, do our tortillas rise? You're like, no. Carne asada fries. She's like, I can't hear you. Then you lean up to the glass, you pull your mask down, and she gives you, the stare from earlier. How do you feel about stay-at-home orders? That's a trip, right? But they're saying we're having more sex during COVID. I don't know if I want to be single during COVID. Man, it's too much work. Remember when you could swipe right and go handle your business? Nope, not anymore. Hello, baby. How you doing? Where you been? You been out today? Don't lie. You wearing that mask? That sexy pink M95 I sent you? Oh yeah, that's good, baby, that's good. Hey, what's your temperature been running at today? Under 100 all day? Damn, girl, that's got me all hot and bothered. I'm on my way right now. But wait, baby, you know what I'm gonna bring? I'm bringing you some antibacterial gel with. Oh, we gonna get nasty tonight, girl. What the hell is that? Who's working from home now? And drinking by 10. We find a big sports cup that we've got in the house. The dark one, the one that you can't see through. You're on a Zoom call, sitting in your best button up and some drawers. Remember in the beginning, it was fun. You thought you had to get dressed up. Now you're over it. Kids see you in the morning. Dad, you're going to wear some pants today? Boy, don't ask me silly questions. You ain't wearing no pants today. Or that Starbucks souvenir cup. You're drinking straight vodka at 10 in the morning at the production meeting. You turn that Starbucks logo to the camera so they think you're drinking coffee. But then your face gives it away. Your coworker says, Sally, you made a face. Your coffee too hot? Sally's like, oh yeah, it burns going down. Oh. So the Soul Suite is back.
Yes, finally.
It's nice to be back on air.
It is.
Yes,
it's great.
It's a little different than radio this time. Now, all you guys out there get to see our faces a lot more because we're on a different type of platform.
Yeah,
Still
I can't
World Tune Radio, but a different type of platform.
Yeah.
It's nice to be back. You guys are going to see us a lot more as visually, and then we're going to have the same type of topics, the same type of things. It's nice to connect people. We like to be the bridge to the entertainment industry, meaning that if you're not the best at this moment, we'll help you work towards getting the best and making sure that. Well, you think you're the best, but then when you see the best, it kind of knocks you down a little bit.
True.
So some of the things that's been happening, what have you been up to during this time of being
Well, not a whole lot. I didn't get to work for a while. Then I got to work for a little while. Then I didn't get to work for a while. So it's been, like a roller coaster.
In the state of California, there's a tier system, and the tier system with the COVID system, it's been purple tier, red tier, things like that. So in this tier, we're in a purple tier right now. So a lot of things got shut down. Right. And, you can't really do anything. You resort to trying to figure some fun things out to do on your own at home?
I mean, we've been doing a lot of walking. We've been doing a lot of watching movies and TV and.
Have you found yourself watching a lot of TV?
Especially Bridgerton with that hot guy. What's his name?
Bridgerton.
Oh my God.
All the ladies are going crazy over this guy. Do you really feel like he's that good looking guy?
He is. He's like perfect, like you.
Whatever. I don't know if that's gonna work, but nice words. Thanks for the kind words.
You're welcome.
But yeah, but the only bad thing about that show to me is that they've only filmed one season.
Well, they're starting the next one.
It doesn't make a difference. When you binge watch TV, you binge watch it to go through all 6 shows at one, or 6 seasons at one time. When you get pissed off at yourself because you sat on the couch all day for like 2 days straight.
And you
didn't change your clothes, didn't do nothing. You got crumbs all over yourself. Just eat and eat and eat and watch. But that's the benefit about it. I love it. You know why? Because I don't need to wait the next week for the next show.
Okay.
That's what I love. I love that. What about you?
Well, I tore through that season pretty quick.
Yeah.
That was really good. I don't know about everybody else, but that was amazing.
I think a lot of people enjoyed that. And if you notice the subtle songs that they have inside of there,
they're
modern songs, but they're played with a violin, cellos, and all that type of stuff.
Right.
And you're like sitting there listening. Do I hear that? Am I listening to that right? Are they really playing that in there?
And it's modern, but with the period clothing and.
How do you like the language?
I like it.
You thought it was good?
Oh yeah, I've always loved that stuff. I've read the books and.
I think most women like that accent.
Yes.
I mean, I couldn't do the accent.
So sexy.
I mean, I sound. How's it go? Hello, darling. I sound like I'm from South Africa.
You should take classes in dialects. That would be good for
That's a good idea, but unless you're trying to impress somebody and try to do a different language, I don't really see the necessity for it. This week on the Soul Suite with Marcus Noel and the gorgeous, beautiful Miss Catalina, we have award-winning director Doug Harris and artist JDavid.
And subscribe to us on YouTube and Facebook at World Tuned Radio.
Are pretty much the files that the camera creates. Okay? Because the mirrorless camera does not shoot the same codecs as the cinema camera.
To raise money for a ghost. And we raised about $20,000. In validation. This is what Tom should.
Give me that bounce, I got it now. Caught that wave, I ride it now. Shit too, I better simmer down. Hold it down, get it now. Might run out, better be quick. Always cash out when I do speak. Dreams they clear.
Working well, I think that. Ain't worried about it. With my pocket looking. Let me hear it.
Lucid.
Working well, I think that. Ain't worried about it. With my pockets looking.
Round the clock, man, my wallet never closed. If she from the valley, then I bet her nigga know who I is and who I roll with. Cashing checks like I'm flipping packs with my bros in. Money all legit, I'm in business with my bros in. Hold them to their word, I bet they do the same. Ain't no rules to the game, things forever change. So I tuck off on my lonely, diversify my range. Give my son a couple blues, write it off his pocket change. We ain't not the same, I do without the fame. I put on sport mode and I stay up in my lane. The rocks all on my name. The rain though when it came. Now I see a few zeros every time I sign my name. Hard to call it cause I'm everywhere you can't be. Plus I'm from the valley so I'm cool with all the OGs. Reason you ain't heard of me cause you ain't split no bread with me. I play it smooth and then I make my moves accordingly. I open up the door and then I hold it coming.
Alright, so we have a great guest for you guys today. I just want to introduce you. With over 20 documentary credits, Berkeley, California native has created a powerful body of original work featuring community, political, and educational leaders, and as well as civil rights luminaries, sports icons, and notable entertainment figures. I give you guys the award-winning Doug Harris. So how you doing today, Doug?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Thank you very much for taking the time to spend with us today. You're a busy man. You got a lot of things going on.
Yeah, despite this COVID pandemic, I'm managing to keep myself busy.
That's good. I mean, let's talk about some of your things that you've done in the past. I mean, the one thing that comes out to me the most is the baseball story. Out. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, well, Out is this story about a friend of mine. He was actually my childhood hero growing up here in Berkeley. His name is Glenn Burke. And this documentary, Out, was the first documentary about the first professional baseball that came out as being openly gay. And it's basically a groundbreaking documentary film because no one else has really done a story about that subject matter, in it being a major sports figure in American sports. And the documentary took place back in the mid to late 1970s, and it's about Glenn Burke, who's a former Los Angeles Dodger and Oakland A's professional baseball outfielder, whose career was cut short because of his sexual preference back in those days. And Major League Baseball, or any sport for that matter, wasn't ready for, having gay athletes competing at the professional level.
So you getting into filmmaking, and that sounds from Berkeley. I mean, Berkeley's a very diverse school, and it allows people who go to Berkeley I'd say they're a little different than the regular person out in California or in the United States, because you're open to so many different ideas. Berkeley gives you so many phases of life that other people have not ever seen. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience at Berkeley?
Well, I grew up here in Berkeley, and big memories that I have of growing up was during the struggles of the protest at UC Berkeley. I can recall as a kid watching the National Guard troops travel in motorcade through my neighborhood up to the university in the Telegraph Avenue area for what I thought back then was an actual war that was happening in our city. Because when you watch the national news on television as a kid, during that time period, you see the Vietnam War, right? But then when they switch over to the local news, your perception as a kid is that there's a war going on right here in your city, and you smell the tear gas. You can't go out for activities, at your elementary and junior high school because of the tear gas all over the city. And so it was things like that I remember about those turbulent 1960s in Berkeley. But as I got older, I started to learn more about what that was all about. And so, Berkeley is definitely a unique type of place.
Do you feel that as an African-American man, that influenced you into your art, into your style of filmmaking?
I wouldn't say that so much, in is that the documentary films that I've been producing over the years have really acknowledged and celebrated the contributions of a lot of people that I knew personally, and people that really made significant impacts who came out of Berkeley, came out of, my community here in Berkeley. And so, when we talk about that, Glenn Burke is, a perfect example of a person that grew up here in Berkeley and went on to make an impact, make a statement, so to speak, a social statement in professional sports. And then, there's a gentleman named Don Barksdale who drafted me to the Golden State Warriors when I came out of college in 1983. And, as I got to become friends with him, I learned that he was the first consensus All-American, Black All-American in college basketball back in 1947. He was in 1948, the next year, he was the first Black to play on an Olympic, U.S. Olympic basketball team and win a gold medal. He was the first NBA All-Star, the black player to compete in an NBA All-Star game. And here this guy is a friend of mine, you know, who helped me get my career started in professional basketball. And when I learned his story, I was like, oh my God, this is a guy who they wouldn't allow to play at our high school, Berkeley High School, which he attended also. But back in the early 40s, he wasn't allowed to play at Berkeley High School because he was black in the whole segregation thing that was going on here in Berkeley. And so it's stories like that. And then you have another story that I produced about a gentleman named Byron Rumford, who was Northern California's first black assemblyman in the California legislature. I didn't know Byron Rumford, but Byron Rumford's Fair Housing Act bill allowed my mother to purchase a home in a white neighborhood here in Berkeley. And had he not passed that legislation, that opportunity wouldn't have been available to families like ours here in Berkeley, and for people all over the country to move and live in neighborhoods that were at one time under restrictive covenants.
All right, so let's get into your new project that we're talking about. And your new project is an Alton J. Patton III and Lyle Network presents Uziki, Washington, D.C.'s African ancestral sculptor, a Doug Harris film. Let's get into that. Can you tell us a little, our watchers, our viewers, a little bit about that film?
Well, that documentary project is basically a family story. My son, Douglas Jr., and I, we took a cross-country trip to Washington, D.C. to do a very interesting story about my uncle, which is my mother's brother. And it was a documentary film that had so many different layers. It's really hard to describe. One would have to, see this documentary to really, truly understand the multiple layers that it has. There's, the documentary covers education. The documentary covers history. The documentary covers art. Arts activism, community involvement. There's just so many different areas of my uncle's life that we were able to document in his story. And then as you pointed out, a big part of this story involves, housing in the DC area, Washington, DC area, along with the beginnings of the gentrification situation that took place in Washington, D.C. when they built the metro railway in different parts of the community, that it was a signal that if Black people didn't own property, that they were going to have to leave because there was going to be, gentrification coming along in the Washington, D.C. area. So that's just one facet of this wonderful story.
What I saw and what I enjoyed the most out of this story was Alan Uziki Nelson and his sculpting that he had. But you captured it to where you made us feel like that was our family member. That was the person in our family member who met Dr. Cleveland Denard and was put things up for Thurgood Marshall and made these types of sculptures that brought you back to life. And it also made you feel very proud. His sculptures were a little different than others, which he used stained glass in his as well. But it made it so that you felt in this documentary that this is my family member. I'm happy to be a part of this because it was a really good thing. You brought that to us.
Well, Uziki, one of his biggest driving forces is to get, African American, Black, however you may want to describe us as a people, to get our young people in particular to get an understanding that we come from greatness, and that our history didn't start with slavery, and that we need to acknowledge these great figures throughout history that made an impact for our people. And, you know, I think that he went out and erected these monumental, I mean, huge sculptures. And he had to really work hard to find a creative way to get his artwork put out publicly, so that he could have these sculptures seen. And so, you know, he had to be very creative in his way of getting his art out there in Washington, D.C. So what he did was he adopted parks within the city, within Washington, D.C., and he erected his sculptures on his very own parks. And I thought that was a real interesting concept. And it shows people that just because doors are shut one way, that we shouldn't just give up on our dreams and hopes. And Uziki is a perfect example of someone who did that as a means to put his art out there in front of the public eye.
Well, tell everyone how they could see this film or be a part of this film as far as the next steps on your journey.
Well, the Uziki documentary will be shown publicly on my website at www.dougharrismedia.com for the remainder of Black History Month. And then after Black History Month, me and a group from Richmond, California, we're working to make the documentary an interactive presentation, because the film has so many different layers in different areas one will venture off into once they're viewing it. In the interactivity, we're going to try something very creative and very outside of the box in terms of making Uziki an interactive production, documentary production, to whereas the viewers can stop and click on different parts of the documentary that can take them into further information about what's being presented in the film. And it's something that's very different. I have, as a documentary filmmaker, I haven't seen this type of project produced yet. And so I'm willing to give it a shot and take this documentary to a whole nother level for the viewers, both for entertainment and as an educational tool, in particular for our young people.
Well, that sounds great, and we'd love to have you on when that does come out. And I want to thank you so much, Mr. Award-winning producer, director, Doug Harris, for being on the Soul Suite. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir. You're doing a great thing for the community and for the world.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
Hi, I'm Ryan. This is my car. Do you like it? Great. We'll get to that. Trust the process. You see, I've been going back and forth with myself, and I decided it's for sale! Sale! No, it is not! Yes, it is. See what I mean? I don't need it, but I want it. You're probably wondering what's wrong with it. I don't know. It cost me a lot to get it running, so hopefully nothing. All I'm asking is a cool $5K. I allow myself to tell you the details.
I just wanna live forever. I just want my shit together. I just want my abs to show. I just wanna eat whatever. I just wanna hit the road. I just want the perfect weather.
And look at this finish, all original. Nothing says I love the US of A like lead paint, baby.
Instincts going no, looking bad like a bat with an eye patch. All black through the woods with a backpack and a lit match. Spark one time, get the whole city looking like a dark shade of orange. Wanna burn it down. What it is, what it do, Hogan. And everybody looking at me while I got them all in my sights. Picking them off, taking them out, looking like daylight in the night. And I'm killing so many if they really wanna get involved. And everybody falling from the elevator, now I'm Bray Rice in this. It's like I'm rice and take a bite, it's nice. And I have a nice time with it. By the time that it finds the way to the right side of him, not even a Heimlich can save him. A selective finger to you imbeciles. Tell me what's been getting into you, envy will kill you. She said I'm a gentleman, not a middle. A lot of women set up on my ottoman. I don't give a damn like an auto with no time to kill. I've been feeling like the opposite of work. It's a work and I never been a purposeful thing to me. I just do what I love and it works for me. So I'm freaking every check. I put the money in the pushing. Better be gunning to the finish and the getting of it. But everybody know I'm working in the sea. I do it differently. So only time will give me everything that I deserve. My end.
And we're back. Told you guys we have a great guest for you guys today. Someone close to my heart, dear and near. It's my brother. I know him as Jonathan David. You guys know him as JDavid. He has featured in so many different types of music, and he's, dabbling into something a little different we're going to talk about today. How you doing, John?
Doing good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
So it's been quite some time since you've been on a Soul Suite.
Yeah.
What's been new with you?
I was about 7 years. I came on and talked to you guys back in 2013.
Yeah.
Yep.
In the studio.
Get the family
Now
discount.
everybody gets to see what you look like.
Exactly, huh? It's a long time ago. Yeah, no, things have been really good. Since that time, definitely had a family.
Yes.
So that's
Uh-huh.
a huge thing.
Yes.
And just kind of been working on some different things. Haven't completely disappeared from the music scene, but dipped and dabbed in some script writing and doing some soundtracks and things for movies, and then still writing, producing. Music's definitely the passion, and doing some business ventures and things of that nature. But yeah, it's been good.
It seems like he's just going all over the place. It's like nothing can hold you down.
Hey, you got to keep it moving. You got to keep
You're
it
a big
moving.
talent,
So yeah, for sure.
So as you've been doing this 7 years and away from the Soul Suite, there's been a lot of things that's happened in the world. I mean, COVID has happened, and that's a major thing. How has that affected you or your family, anything like that?
Man, COVID's crazy. Like COVID's just, it doesn't even make sense to me, but I get it. And of course, my heart goes out to everybody that's been, affected by it. But I don't think we're ever gonna get used to just this new way of life.
We have a new normal.
Yeah, and I don't see it going away anytime soon. So, it's just, you either have to adapt, and that's in, business, that's in your ventures, whatever it is that you want to do, and roll with it. And if not, you're gonna get left behind. It's sad, but it's true.
It's a time to be creative right now.
And that's what I was going to say.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like creativity has bubbled over in not only you, but a lot of different music, artists, movies, things like that?
I mean, I think people are really zoning in on their talents right now. They're super just making things not just about, silly things. I think things are more serious. And you can see some of the talent that's out there right now. I mean, I was watching the Super Bowl. I'm sure you guys all watched Super Bowl, and just watching the lineup from her doing the America the Beautiful, and then doing the national anthem, and I mean, people are just really, really, not letting this thing stop them. So
People aren't performing as much. They're in the studio. They're creating and
correct.
And Jasmine Sullivan,
Also
she
the
did
national anthem.
she brought her
crazy.
inner Whitney Houston to that.
It was
thing.
crazy. I thought
it
it was
would
cool.
make you want to cry.
It was great. I thought the arrangement was amazing,
Yes.
and being that it was a little bit of country, a little bit of R&B,
Yes.
they really made it work, and that's what it's all about right now. Just being creative, doing different things, being inventive, and just bringing your best.
So speaking about the Super Bowl, I mean, one of the features in the Super Bowl and an inauguration was Amanda Gorman. She's a poet that defines a different level of poetry, I believe. I believe she's for the younger style of people growing up. Like Maya Angelou, she's like the grandmother.
yes.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
No, definitely, and I think it was awesome to see her at Biden's inauguration. Awesome to listen to what she did at the Super Bowl, just giving accolades to the first responders and the different people that she was talking about. But yeah, she's on another level. I mean,
She's bright,
amazing,
20-year-old.
super bright. I didn't realize she was so young
I
either.
know.
But
Yeah.
She's like
amazing.
a shining star right
Yes,
Absolutely.
and graduated
Yes.
honors, and just an
Absolutely.
amazing person to look up to.
Sure.
So, what have you been up to? Speaking of, I want to say poetry. Is that the right word to use?
You know,
can you tell us a little about what's
with-
been going on?
with me-
and what's up with this hat? What's the hat for?
The hat is always so. I thought you might ask about it. But it's always, since you've known me and since I know you, it's always the hat. It's just I think I've turned it around a little bit. If you guys remember, I always used to have the hat facing that way, covering the eyes a little bit. But it's just me, I think, venturing out even more open, just letting people see the eyes a little bit, and you know, keeping the style good. But as far as the poetry thing, yeah, I've written a book. It's called The 508 Room.
508 Room.
The 508 Room. So
where did the name 508 Room come from?
It's a little complicated, but I'll give you the quick 15-20 second spill. It's basically, I went through a long journey within this last 2.5-3 years, just a lot of things going on and a lot of transitions and changes in my life, even going between music and movie stuff. But the 508 is actually just my number of how long it took for me to recognize that I was changing, for me to recognize that there were different things going on in my life. And it's not an actual room. It's the room that I needed to actually get to where I needed to get. So like everyone's number would be different. So yours could be the 208 room or the 408 room. Mine was just 508 days of that's how long it took me to get to a place where I knew, you know, there was going to be some change and transition in my life.
So the 508 is basically not a bedroom, not a living room.
No.
It's the room and the space you need for change.
For change. It's for transformation. Perfect. So God dealt with me in that 508 days, and it's the room I needed to get where I need to be. It's like we can't step up and get where we need to go sometimes by ourselves on our own. There has to be, you know, you have to almost die to yourself and then be reborn into whatever it is to rebuild and to get where you got to get. And it took me a long time, but I'm super proud of it, and it's really just a collection of everything I was feeling in that 508 days. I mean, it's raw. I go from everything from life to, you know, family to sex to anything. It's anything because that's life. You know, I didn't want to short sell anything. So yeah.
It just seems like, I mean, that to me that's a long time. 508. Well, but I mean, but at the same time, I've never put a time limit on my journey because I don't know what that for me it might be 1,280. I don't know, but I mean, or 600. Exactly. So tell everybody what they can experience in the book number 508 and when it's going to be out and maybe how they can be a part of that.
Yeah, we're looking for a late summer release date of 2021. So that's what we're trying to do here. And the 508 Room, it's really it's going to be something where people can really make it their own experience. You don't read it from cover to end. You definitely can jump into it wherever you want because it's just this journey and you can kind of see that journey of change as it's going. I never thought it was going to be poetry or spoken word, but that's just what came out of me when I did it. So it's not something, I've always been a writer, as you know, but it's not something I really was specifically into, but it just came out and it came out great. And you know, people are asking me, now are you gonna rap? You gonna rap? No, I'm not a rapper. It's just words that rhyme that happen to be poetic and spoken word like. So
I know you are very good at describing certain situations and your words and putting people in that place. So you have a gift, and I've heard some of the poems in 508. And I encourage you guys to check that out because I can guarantee it will change your life. It will bring you on a roller coaster ride. And a roller coaster ride that you may not be ready for yet, but at the same time, you're going to enjoy every single portion of it. So I thank you so much for coming in and sharing that. I know you're going to perform for everybody, right?
Yeah, I got maybe one or two that I brought that I can share. So absolutely.
That's good. Nice. It's going to be a great thing.
Hey,
you guys
for having me.
Check out JDavid in the 508 Room and his poetry book. Do we call it poetry book?
I mean, I just like calling it the 508 Room. It's just the 508 Room.
The journey.
Everybody check out the 508 Room by JDavid.
Dear Devil, could it be that I have too much time on my hands? No, because time would require me to invest in this communication, completely disregard the years of degradation, your untimely calculation of misrepresentation and creative manipulation. For I don't invest in dialogue void of process, lacking premeditated dictation. So screw your fixation or failed plan of persuasion to try and convince me that this is even a real conversation. It's everything less. It's my aha moment. It's royalty separating from insignificant. It's your aha moment when you realize his grace makes me magnificent. Wait, there's more, you vile prince of deception who torments, kills, destroys, annoys, enjoys leading me into temptation. I regret to inform you that without hesitation, your counterfeit intimidation has just taken a much needed permanent vacation. Let me remind you again, this is not a conversation, so hold your tongue. I reserve the right and sold your reservation. It was bought by the blood of the Lamb and paid for with a lifetime of salvation. Cancel your return plans like you cancel the light as you enter a room. You're on blast, and life as you knew it in regards to me will never resume. Cause I'm standing on ideas, creations, notations, dreams much bigger than your plans with zero limitations. Inventions, connections, life-size closets with endless selections. Stadiums full, prisons closer to empty. If he sends me, I'll go. Not my will, but his will in my backyard or the Serengeti. My illimitable imagination is what makes this non-conversation an extraordinary graduation, yet a very bad situation for the likes of a narcissistic, self-absorbed violation of everything that is good and holy. You failed when you didn't notice me returning to my feet, restoring all things that you have stolen from me. No need to ever show up again, but I know you will, because over the years you've lacked 3 very important skills: reading, writing, and arithmetic. In the last book of the holiest books ever conceived, unfortunately, you failed to read. In the end, you lose the battle, and losers only succeed in judging those who really just need a touch from the Prince of Peace. The truth, the right, the only way. The same way you will never count it all joy, because we both know you're a liar. I have 666 reasons, but how about one more? Winners write history. Overcomers see their children become kings and queens. You perverted written words to not translate what they mean. So get your hands off my life, my promise, my future, my mind. Once again, this is not a conversation. It's finally just my time. Signed, Winner.
Did you hear what she said?
You know what?
Well, I heard.
Man. Oh, no, he didn't.
Word on the
Really?
street.
Girl, yes. She was working in the street.
And you and everybody else listens.
Crazy. Hey, this is Nita B. Talks with Nita B. I'll be covering everything. Anything you wanted to know about, I got you. Let's talk about it on World Tuned Radio.
What's good? You're tuned in to Yes Ma'am Radio
On World Tune Radio.
It's your girl, Fo Deuce.
This is GT, the big figure. It's your boy Primo, everybody's favorite cousin.
It's your boy D Truth in the building.
It's DJ R Son, aka Sonny Burns, the truth in the booth.
We live, baby. Right now.
Not now, right now.
It's going down, yeah.
Woo!
1, 2, 3, 4.
You're now listening to Auditory Analysis with me, Sierra Dominique, where it's more than music.
Hi, this is Mama G. I have my PhD in parental household discipline. Whatever you have in your household, I probably raised it, taught it, loved it, spanked it, punished it, and definitely prayed over it.
The West Coast's premier podcast network.
Please forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. This is my quarantine confession.
I had to change my trash can into my recycling bin because of COVID.
I ordered $500 of Postmates, and 99% of it was not food.
I binge watched every season of Golden Girls on Hulu.
During quarantine, I became the top 3% on Candy Crush.
Got emotional and found myself strangely attracted to Blanche.
I went a whole week without taking a shower and used 1.5 bottles of Febreze on 1 pair of sweats. Thank you for watching The Soul Suite with Marcus Noel and the gorgeous, beautiful Miss Catalina. You know, everyone's going through a lot of things right now, especially with COVID. It's hard times. And we just want to say from Soul Suite, God bless you. We know you'll make it. It may not be COVID for you, it might be something different. But at the same time, I know you'll make it. We always make it through. And from us at the Soul Suite with Marcus Noel,
sweet dreams and soulful nights.
World Tune Radio, where the world tunes in. The West Coast's premier podcast network.